If you're over 50 and you've been told to just push harder, run farther, and stretch deeper, I want you to pause with me for a minute. In clinics from Tokyo to Boston, doctors are quietly aligning on a different truth. Longevity isn't won by intensity. It's won by protecting the joints and nerves that carry you through the next 20 years. Japanese gerontology programs have spent decades tracking everyday movement, and what they keep finding is simple and startling. The body after 50 does not respond like the body at 25. Collagen production slows, cartilage thins, reaction time lengthens, and the margin for error shrinks. The U.S. National Institutes of Health has long noted that articular cartilage has limited capacity to heal, which means damage you don't feel today can become pain you can't ignore tomorrow. Mayo Clinic physicians say the earliest warning lights are subtle stiffness, swelling after activity, and clicks that seem harmless until they're not. Here's the hopeful part. You don't need to live in fear of exercise, you just need to shift the target from max performance to maximum preservation. That's how Japan has quietly engineered mobility into old age. They favor low-impact patterns that build circulation, balance, and strength without grinding the knees, hips, and spine. Consistency beats spectacle. Form beats force. Recovery is baked into the movement itself. When you move this way, blood pressure eases, sleep deepens, and inflammation calms because you're working with your tissues, not against them. I'm going to show you 3 exercises that quietly erode your independence, and then 3 that protect it. If any of what I say sounds uncomfortably familiar, that's a gift. It means you can change course today. And before we go further, do one thing for your future self. Tap subscribe so you don't miss the next lesson. Then tell me in the comments what you currently do for cardio or flexibility. I'll read them and point you towards safer upgrades. This channel is a conversation, not a lecture, and your story could be the nudge another man needs to stay on his feet at 80. Ready to look under the hood. We'll start with the crowd favorite that feels healthy, releases endorphins, and still ages your knees years ahead of schedule. If your joints have been fine, ask yourself why they click after a good day. The hidden cost of running for decades, we were told that running was the ultimate key to heart health. The sweat, the rhythm, the endorphins, it all felt like proof that we were doing something good. But inside the knees of every man over 50 who keeps pounding the pavement, a quieter story unfolds. Japanese researchers at Osaka University found that every mile run after 50 creates microfractures in knee cartilage that never fully heal. On MRI scans, the knees of lifelong joggers often look 20 years older than their actual age. 20 years. Each foot strike sends shock waves through your body, equal to 3 to 5 times your weight. If you weigh 160 pounds, that's nearly 800 pounds, traveling through bone and cartilage again and again. When we're 25, collagen cushions that impact like fresh rubber. By 50, collagen production has dropped so much that every step becomes a negotiation with gravity. A study in the Journal of Orthopedic Science showed that older runners had more than triple the risk of needing knee replacement surgery compared to non-runners. What's cruel is that running releases endorphins that mask the pain. You feel strong while the damage accumulates silently beneath the surface. Japanese doctors call it borrowing strength from your future mobility. Western fitness tells us to chase the burn, but Eastern longevity science tells us to protect the vessel. Joint preservation, not cardiovascular intensity, is what keeps a man moving well into his 80s. Clicking sounds, post-run stiffness, swelling. These are not trophies of discipline. They are distress signals. Once cartilage wears down, it doesn't regenerate. Harvard Medical School confirms this. Cartilage cells have no blood supply, no nerve endings, and almost no regenerative capacity. So does that mean you give up cardio? Not at all. It means you shift the how. The Japanese figured it out almost a century ago. Movements that keep the heart strong while sparing the joints. We'll get to those soon. But before that, there's another healthy habit almost every trainer recommends that's doing quiet harm to men past 60. It's in nearly every gym program, celebrated by influencers half your age, and it's wrecking knees faster than any treadmill. If this part hits home, drop a quick comment and tell me. Have you felt that stiffness after a jog and just ignored it? You're not alone. Most men do until it's too late. But the next mistake is even more common, and it's hiding in almost every gym routine. The deep squat trap. Every trainer, every gym program, every influencer tells you the same thing. If you want strong legs, you need to squat deep. But for men over 60, that advice can be catastrophic. Deep squats may look powerful, yet what's happening inside the knees is mechanical abuse disguised as discipline. Research from Kyoto University's Department of Biomechanics shows that when you bend your knees beyond 90 degrees, pressure on the knee joint spikes by up to 500%. Imagine your cartilage already thinner from age, now trapped between two bones, grinding under 5 times the force it was designed to bear. That's not strength training, that's wear and tear turned permanent. By 60, the meniscus, that rubbery cushion in your knees, has already lost nearly half its shock-absorbing power. Compress it under a deep load, and you're accelerating its breakdown. What begins as stiffness becomes swelling, then chronic inflammation, and finally the grinding pain of osteoarthritis. In Japan, orthopedic clinics have seen a 78% increase in knee injuries among older adults since Western-style deep squat programs became popular. These are men who wanted independence and ended up needing surgery. Dr. Tanaka from Tokyo Medical University tells a story that's become heartbreakingly familiar. A man in his mid-60s came to him after months of pain. His trainer had told him to go ass to grass for better leg strength. What the man didn't know was that each of those deep repetitions was shaving away the cartilage meant to protect him for the next 20 years. His x-rays showed bone-on-bone contact. His words? But I was just doing what my trainer told me. Traditional Japanese exercise avoids this mistake completely. Movements stay within a safe range. Knees bent only 30 to 60 degrees, body weight distributed evenly, and force spread across multiple joints instead of concentrated in one. These positions build strength without destruction. They respect the body's changing architecture instead of fighting it. So how do you build leg strength safely? There's an approach Japan has refined for generations. One that strengthens your legs, hips, and balance without sacrificing your knees. Before we get there, though, there's still one more exercise you might believe keeps you limber. But it's quietly stretching your stability to the breaking point. If you've ever pushed through knee pain thinking it was just soreness, take this as your body's warning. Let's talk about the next silent destroyer, the one that hides behind every stretching mat. The flexibility fallacy. We've all been told that flexibility equals youth, that if you can still touch your toes or twist like a yogi, you've beaten time. But in Japan, orthopedic doctors are warning that excessive stretching after 50 isn't helping. It's unraveling the very fibers that hold your joints together. At Nagoya University Hospital, a 3-year study followed adults over 55 who practiced aggressive yoga or extreme stretching. Nearly half developed chronic joint instability. Once those ligaments stretched beyond their natural limit, they never recovered. Here's why. Muscles are elastic. They stretch, they contract, they rebound. Ligaments are not. They're built for stability, not flexibility. When you push them too far, they lose their shape, like a rubber band that's been pulled one time too many. Western fitness culture glorifies extremes, splits, deep backbends, overextended poses, while Eastern medicine calls that what it truly is, structural instability. When ligaments loosen, your joints stop tracking correctly. Cartilage begins to wear unevenly. Over time, that instability turns into arthritis and chronic pain. A case from Kyoto stands out. A 60-year-old woman, a lifelong yoga enthusiast, practiced hot yoga 5 times a week. Her flexibility was impressive. She could fold backward into a wheel pose without effort, but she developed severe sacroiliac joint dysfunction, constant, untreatable pain, because her ligaments could no longer hold her pelvis in alignment. There's no surgery to fix overstretched tissue. The damage was permanent. Japanese longevity experts teach a different approach: functional flexibility. It's not about how far you can bend, it's about whether you can move with control. Can you sit on the floor and rise without using your hands? Can you reach overhead without straining your shoulders? Can you twist to check a blind spot while driving? These movements protect independence, not just vanity. Gentle range, mindful breathing, controlled form. That's what keeps joints alive for decades. In Japan, they say, stretch to live, not to show. Because the goal is not a perfect pose. It's a pain-free morning. The kind where you can tie your shoes, climb stairs, and take a slow walk after lunch without thinking about your knees or hips. And that brings us to the real turning point. The 3 exercises Japanese doctors actually prescribe to protect mobility, balance, and heart health. The first one has been performed by millions every morning for almost a century, and it only takes 13 minutes. The morning ritual that keeps Japan moving. At sunrise across Japan, in parks, courtyards, and even corporate offices, millions of people stop what they're doing and move in unison. Gentle arm circles, slow bends, steady breathing. 13 minutes that have quietly extended the lifespan of a nation. It's called Radio Taiso, radio calisthenics. Created in 1928, it was originally designed as a public health program for postal workers. Nearly a century later, it's still part of daily life because it works. Every morning, about 27 million Japanese adults perform the same 13 movements to piano music. 13 minutes, no equipment, no pain. The rhythm wakes up circulation, lubricates the joints, and gently raises heart rate into the optimal zone, around 60 to 70% of maximum. The sweet spot where cardiovascular benefits meet longevity. A study from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology found that those who practiced Radio Taiso daily had 32% lower risk of metabolic syndrome, the cluster of conditions that lead to heart disease and diabetes. Here's the secret. These movements never stress the joints. No pounding, no twisting, no deep bends. Shoulder rotations keep mobility alive. Torso twists awaken the spine. Side stretches engage your obliques, improving posture and digestion. Leg raises and light bends activate your hips and thighs without strain. The entire sequence can be done standing or seated, even by people recovering from injury. Harvard's Department of Public Health has confirmed that consistent low-intensity exercise done daily can rival moderate-intensity workouts for long-term health outcomes. The key is sustainability, not struggle. There's another layer that Western fitness often overlooks, Mina, the social element. People gather each morning, share greetings, move together. That connection reduces isolation, a factor the World Health Organization lists as one of the leading predictors of early mortality in older adults. In Japan, the exercise is as much about community as it is about movement. You show up not just to move your body, but to stay connected to life. If 13 minutes feels like a lot, start with 5. The point isn't perfection, it's consistency. Over time, your body learns the rhythm. Your joints remember freedom and your mornings regain purpose. But Radio Taiso is just the start. The next movement focuses on how you walk. And it's unlike the power walking we see in the West. It's slower, calmer, and scientifically proven to protect your knees while keeping your heart strong. Try this tomorrow morning. Just 5 minutes of gentle motion. Then come back and tell me how your knees feel. But movement doesn't stop there. The way you walk each day matters even more. The power of slow. Walking in the West, walking faster is seen as progress. Steps per minute, pace per mile, calories burned. But in Japan, longevity doctors discovered something revolutionary. Slowing down extends not just your stride, but your life. The practice is called Yuru Aruki, loose walking. It looks deceptively simple, yet it delivers extraordinary results. Researchers at the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute tracked over 11,000 adults for 15 years and found that those who walked at half the typical Western speed had 43% fewer mobility issues as they aged. Here's why it works. Most Americans walk at 3 to 4 miles per hour. Yuru Aruki cuts that speed in half, about 1.5 to 2 miles per hour. And that small change reduces the impact on your knees by nearly 70%. Each slow, deliberate step allows your body to fully transfer weight, roll through the foot, and lubricate the joints with synovial fluid, the body's natural joint oil. The slower pace gives that fluid time to coat and protect your cartilage. Fast walking doesn't. The result? Less grinding, more glide. Cardiovascularly, it's just as effective. At this pace, your heart rate sits in the fat-burning zone, like 60 to 70% of maximum, long enough to build endurance without stress. Harvard Medical School confirms that moderate, consistent heart rate elevation can improve metabolic health as effectively as intense exercise, especially in adults over 50. And there's a mental layer, too. Slow walking creates mindfulness. You notice posture, breathing, even how your feet touch the ground. It becomes meditation in motion, lowering cortisol, improving focus, and balancing your nervous system. The Japanese often practice Yuru Aruki after meals. That gentle movement aids digestion and stabilizes blood sugar. It's not about breaking a sweat, it's about building rhythm. As your body glides, your mind unclenches. You reconnect with yourself. For practical use, aim for 30 to 45 minutes daily, through a park, along your neighborhood, or even inside a shopping mall if weather keeps you indoors. The key is resisting the urge to rush. Slower steps, smoother breathing, softer impact. Do it long enough and your joints will feel younger than they have in years. And while Yuru Aruki preserves your knees in balance, there's one more simple movement that directly determines how long you stay independent. A 5-minute ritual practiced in Japanese homes and nursing centers that predicts not just mobility but lifespan itself. You can almost feel how peaceful that kind of walking would be, right? Calm, steady, grounded. Now let's add one more piece. A 5-minute habit that literally predicts how long you'll stay independent. The 5-minute strength of independence. In Japan, aging gracefully isn't about how far you can run or how much you can lift. It's about whether you can stand up on your own. Every morning in homes and care centers across the country, people over 60 practice a humble but powerful exercise called Tachi Zawari, sitting and standing practice. It looks ordinary. Sit down, stand up, repeat. But hidden in this simplicity is a truth that Western medicine is only beginning to appreciate. A 15-year study from the Tokyo Metropolitan Institute found that after 60, your ability to rise from a chair without using your hands is a stronger predictor of long-term independence and even lifespan than cholesterol or blood pressure. That single movement reveals the health of your legs, balance, and core stability all at once. When these fade, the risk of falls skyrockets. In the United States, falls are the leading cause of injury death among people over 65. In Japan, Tachi Zawari has reduced fall-related injuries by more than half. Here's how it works. Sit on a sturdy chair, feet hip-width apart, hands resting lightly on your thighs. Lean forward slightly, press through your heels, and rise slowly as you exhale. Control the motion. 2 or 3 seconds up, 3 or 4 seconds down. Don't plop. Don't rush. This trains not just strength, but balance and coordination. It wakes up the quadriceps, glutes, and core. The exact muscles that keep you steady when getting out of a car, off the toilet, or up from the dinner table. Harvard geriatric researchers have shown that daily practice of controlled sit-to-stand movements rewires the neuromuscular system, creating what they call automatic stability. Your body learns to execute the movement without thought, preventing the sudden missteps that cause most falls. 2 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions, morning and evening, is enough. 5 minutes a day, that's it. When Japanese doctors implemented this practice in nursing homes, fall incidents dropped by 61% in just 6 months. The beauty is its accessibility. No gym, no equipment, no strain. Just you, your body, and a chair. Combine this with Yuru Aruki and Radio Taiso, and you have a routine that keeps the heart strong, the joints young, and the mind steady. But what truly separates Japanese longevity from Western fitness culture isn't the exercises themselves. It's the philosophy behind them. That's what we'll explore next. If you've made it this far, you already know, longevity isn't about luck, it's about rhythm. And that rhythm begins in the mind. Let's close with the philosophy that ties it all together. The longevity philosophy. The secret to Japanese longevity isn't found in supplements or gym machines. It's found in how they think about movement itself. Western fitness tells you to push until you need rest days. Japanese science teaches you to move so gently, so intelligently that you never need one. This is the quiet discipline that's kept their elders mobile into their 90s. Not intensity, but harmony. The Tokyo Metropolitan Institute of Gerontology, the same institution that pioneered much of Japan's health research, sums it up beautifully. Longevity is not an outcome, it is a rhythm. Every day, small movements. Radio Taiso in the morning, Yuru Aruki after lunch, Tachi Zawari in the evening, create that rhythm. Together they total less than an hour, yet they determine whether you're independent at 80 or immobile at 70. Western fitness often glorifies effort, run faster, lift heavier, stretch deeper. But effort without awareness is just strain. Japanese longevity flips that script. It's about consistency over conquest, preservation over performance. Gentle motion fuels blood flow, maintains balance, and preserves cartilage. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering inflammation and cortisol. The Mayo Clinic confirms that these factors directly reduce risks for heart disease, diabetes, and cognitive decline. Not through exhaustion, but through daily renewal. If you've spent decades pushing your body hard, maybe it's time to start listening instead. Every click, every stiffness, every ache, they're not weakness, they're wisdom. They're your body whispering what it needs before it's too late to repair. So here's your blueprint. 13 minutes of Radio Taiso to awaken your body, 30 minutes of Yuru Aruki to protect your heart and joints, 5 minutes of Tachi Zawari to maintain balance and independence, 48 minutes a day, and your body will thank you for decades. If you've been doing any of the 3 harmful exercises, running, deep squats, or extreme stretching, pause them today. Replace them with this rhythm. Let strength become something you preserve, not something you spend. Tell me in the comments which of these new movements you'll start with, and if this message helped you rethink your training, share it with another man who deserves to stay strong, steady, and pain-free. And make sure you subscribe, because in the next episode we'll uncover the Japanese sleeping position that reduces back pain by 68%. A nightly ritual that could change how you age from the inside out. Your mobility 20 years from now begins with the choices you make tonight. Move gently, move daily, move wisely.